Buckle up, it can't be stopped. You're gonna love this. I'm gonna give you the 3 things that are happening right now that cannot be stopped. We are in the tipping point. No, we're past it. I'm gonna share with you what's actually happening out there that is proof that we are going into a completely new era. I'm gonna explain what that era is. And if you're not feeling this, I'm also gonna give you something in this video that can change all that if you decide you want to live in a different world. Let's talk about that right now. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through the fear and live an amazing life. Humans come here with unconsciousness. We are the creation of unconsciousness, to know what we don't know, or to not know what we know, and also to experience density and fear and darkness, and also to experience the breakthrough of that. That's part of the experience. It's not like, oh, we're here to get rid of it. No, it's like we're here to experience what's it like to not know and go back into it and discover it. It's all beautiful. I'm asking you to subscribe when you do, and I don't know what's going on out there, but we're losing a lot of subscribers due to YouTube, and we want to tell YouTube, yes, we want positivity, and you're always going to get it on this channel because that's the only messages that I get. Yes, I'm clairaudient. You are too. I'm going to talk about that today. All right, so we're going to go right into it. You're going to love this. Okay. Why do you need to buckle up? I'm going to give you the 3 things that are happening right now and why you need to buckle up. So before we start, I just want to say, please go down into the description if you want anything that I'm giving you, tools, giving you a lot of free stuff in there to help you step into this, including how you earn, all right? It's called Digital Explorers. We're creating, and that's what's happening right now. First one is disclosure that is already happening by light workers and people in higher places. I'm talking about scientists, doctors, people in the government who have, a lot of them have already talked about that we are not alone, that we do have powers, that we can go out of body, that there are light beings, that there are orbs, and that are all these things that are happening. We can read minds. Some people can do that. If you saw the telepathy tapes, you saw that these autistic kids can do that. But we label and name people as weirdos, ADHD, ADD, PST, we got all these names to say you're not okay. When all we have are challenges that we can look at and say, what can we get out of this? So what's full disclosure? Watch my other video about this. I want you to think about this. If you are in a low dense place, that means you don't recognize your power and you think of yourself as an individual and you're very much an ego protection system, right? Blaming, pointing fingers, separation. You will go to places like government, the low level, low density places that are controlled by ego power that want to control us, right? Plant stuff out there, the media, all that stuff. You will continue to go to these places to get your information. We don't need Congress or some meeting on Capitol Hill that they're all sitting there. Conversations about what? To pull some crap out of your vault that you have, you know, you're marking stuff out, the black line. This is ridiculous. The light workers are stepping out, and I told you this a couple of years ago, and it is happening. You know, I want you to think about this, because take a look around. I know you guys were upset, and I said, don't worry, we have light workers in everything, including corporations that you hate, NASA, government, all of it. It's not just all rotten people. Nothing's black or white. So let's not paint it that way. There are light workers in every area of our lives. And they are there. Keep your enemies closer, right? Art of war. What do? You know what's going on, and you do what you can. You step out. They're stepping out now. Again, doctors, scientists, credible people. I talked about Dr. Gary Nolan, who's a Stanford professor, admitted, this is wild, he admitted that he had beings visit him when he was a kid. He would never have talked about that. Ever, ever, ever. In fact, he said if he had, you know, they'd probably kick him out of Stanford, but they're not. Why? too many people are stepping into their power and their truth of what we really are. And that has been frightening people because egos want you to be afraid of that. Look at the movies that are out there. You know, Independence Day, the Americans kick alien butt. Yeah. Now we have movies like Contact, and what's the one where, you know, they come down in these pods all over the planet, and we have professors trying to communicate with them. They look like these huge octopus, one of my favorite movies. So they had a gift for us. They're helping to save us. We're seeing more of that in media. But the disclosure is credible people stepping out and saying, this is real, I've experienced it, and so we're disclosing it, and we don't care what they do or don't believe. We don't care if people try to debunk it. We know what is. Those people know what is. You know what you've experienced, and everyone has experienced something that was a little bit out there. You go, oh, it's nothing, right? You brush it off. So that brings me to number 2. The proof is becoming undisputable. You can no longer turn away and say it doesn't exist. Non-human intelligence, not aliens, right? Not aliens. Intelligence, that means orbs, light beings, angels, fairies, whatever. Everything outside of your physical body has no restrictions. It's pure energy. Let's talk science. It's pure energy, as are you. However, you're playing a role in a physical body until you leave the physical body, the facade, the creation that you decided to inhabit, to play the play. We're the illusion. Until you leave it, you won't go back into this transformational space where you don't have to go from here to here to here, right? You can reincarnate, but you go into the non-physical, non-human intelligence, and you could be an angel, and you could be a fairy, and you could be a cloud, and you could be all kinds of things, and all at once you can transform into everything. Everything's one thing happening. Everything exists at once. There's no such thing as time, right? Now, so this is what's happening. People are understanding that we can't turn away from this anymore. The drones in the sky, I believe, are our government. That's why they never said anything. Yeah, like we're going to trust all these people up there that are pardoning each other. Who cares? We're moving forward, so we see these craft, and we don't know what they are, but guess what showed up? Things that weren't ours. And that wasn't just the United States, it was all over the world. And millions of videos and photographs were taken of orbs and other entities that we couldn't tell what they were. It wasn't just one orb or one, it was all kinds of creations. Now, I'm going to give you a name, and I hope you look this up if you don't know who this is. Dorothy Izat, I-Z-A-T-T, Z-A-T-T for you, those of you in Europe. There's a documentary, it's on Amazon Prime, you can get it other places, I'm sure. I tried to get it on YouTube. It's called Capturing the Light. It's about at least 30 minutes long. There's a lady, so this has been going on for decades, right? And so we sort of dispute. Now we're saying, oh my gosh, let's take a look at this. She has been filming these light beings. Sometimes they show up as craft, sometimes they show up as orbs, sometimes they show up as these lights, and there's power behind it, and she has received messages. The message that she received is, we are here, we're real, and we're showing ourselves to let you know that they are not here to harm us. They're here to help us. How many times have we heard this? Chris Bledsoe. They're here to help us. Now, the other stuff that's going on, we're waiting for disclosure and stuff. We're waiting for them to show up. Let's put it aside. We're always waiting for some event for the aliens to show up. It's already happening. It's not a future event like a craft is going to come in. That's that human thinking of there's an event or a separate thing. Energy is out there. Those craft are sentient beings, because everything that is created on any level that appears to be physical or non-physical is created from the pure source of energy. even angels. So a lot of people go into near-death experiences and they'll see Christ or Allah or an angel or whatever. Those are the energy fields appearing as this person needs to see to be okay with that, okay? So they will appear. Now, the higher frequency you are, the more pleasant that is. If you're on a low frequency, you're in the same room with the other frequencies. So if you go into fear and these things show up, she actually Dorothy said that she had church telling her, they're evil, the usual crap, right? And she said she started to think, well, maybe they are, but she thought, well, wait a second, they've been beautiful. I get a positive message. And when she went into that, questioning it, dark things would show up in her room. And she knew she was now playing in that field. So my father has many mansions. Our scenario here is a mansion. There are different floors in it. You participate in wherever you want to. The penthouse is where we drink champagne, and there's a beautiful view, and you can see everything. Down in the dungeon, the basement, you can't see everything. It's dark, and everyone in low frequency fights for itself. So whoever you're friends with now, and if you're an ego, will turn on you in 2 seconds because they think of themselves as an individual thing, not this massive thing. So here's what's happening. Number 3. The public is starting to access that field and realize it's not people that have psychic powers or medium powers or clairaudience. You know, I have clairaudience, and some other abilities. I don't really try and control that. However, everyone has it, and you can tap into it. And now we're realizing we're not demonizing it. We're not listening to church anymore because we realize they've been programmed to stay in, spiritual people should be broke because, rich people are evil. That has been a programming to keep you in disempowerment. Now we're realizing, wait a second, none of this stuff makes sense. If one is everything, then it wants us to, of course, you, should be abundant and healthy and happy, and you have those powers. So your creation as a human being, your experiences is to go back into that and know what it's like to go rediscover that. So it's not like, oh, I'm bad and I need to go into this, this enlightened state and this is wrong. It's not wrong. You chose to not know and say, oh, this is a journey. How does Pac-Man get up on the leaderboard? That's all you're doing. Oh, is Pac-Man wrong for being down here going when it gets eaten up? No. It's like, okay, I learned. I won't go past that little doorway anymore. And so you learn, you get up there. It's not wrong. It's just a journey. So people are realizing, wait a second, none of this stuff's wrong. And it exists. But the scenario of human beings in the frequencies will have been telling us stories to separate us from the power because it ruins their low density addictions to stuff, money, power. It can never get enough. Separation, right? They hang around with themselves. They help each other sometimes, and they turn on each other too. How many times have bandits gone and stole from each other? That's how it works. You don't want to be in that world. So the public now is saying, wait a second, this isn't a coincidence. I'm having weird stuff. My students in Digital Explorers, you guys that Planet Conscious Business we're creating, are starting to, we talk about this stuff. It's pretty cool. We don't just talk about business. They're telling me some things are showing up right now. So that positive power is going up. So the planet, it can't be stopped. Too many of us are going into it. Too many of us are saying, I don't believe you anymore. I don't need Congress to tell me that there's other beautiful beings on other planets. Of course they are. They're watching us. They cannot interfere with our free will, okay? That is a fact because we chose this experience to do it ourselves. If they stepped in, wouldn't you got to take the train. We took the training wheels off. So we got to learn to ride the bike ourselves. That's all it is. So they're watching now. What are they going to do? They're not going to allow us to interfere with their scenario, with their mansion. And there's many mansions out there. So if we blast ourselves out, we're going to hit them with some really bad stuff, and they're not going to let it happen. It's happened too many times on other planets. We'll talk about Mars some other time. This is what you need to pay attention to. Buckle up, because the lower frequencies that don't get this, that don't care about that, that want to hang on to, they're addicted to it, they're addicted to the control and power, are going to put out an extra effort to discredit light beings. They have been. When the Minister of Defense in Canada said there are extraterrestrials. I've seen them. I know about it. We talk about it. People in power try to discredit them. We know this. We know this. This is no shocker. So why would you believe it or listen to it? All right? We've got people like Lou Alessandro. He disagrees with Stephen Greer, who disagrees with Jake Barber. It's just this craziness. So if they have the information, then why are they disagreeing? Why are they giving completely different information? Because most of them are fed misinformation. A lot of them believe their own crap. Because they're still connected to that world that is going to tell us what's going on out there, and we don't need it anymore. We're disconnecting to that. And so that is the low frequency world that we are no longer listening to, and we're creating. It's like Jake Barber said, who is, let's just say, has discovered that unknown world and taps into it, says, well, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I'm not here to go and, dispute anything. Don't believe me? Believe me? He doesn't care. He knows it exists, and he's on a higher frequency. He said the same thing. Love and light, that's what they're about. And so they're connecting to these other unseen beings, non-human intelligence, via a high frequency. All right? Those of you who know about Stephen Greer, who I'm not a big fan, I think he's gone way into ego. He's still hung up on, telling the president what's going on. Like, seriously, okay, he's right and they're right. They're all arguing. That's silliness. But he started out with connecting to those, and apparently he had an incident where he had a being show up many, many years ago, and he created an app where you can connect to these beings, and one of the things that you have to do is to go into meditation and think positive thoughts. Chris Bledsoe calls in orbs. He was an abductee. You probably know who he is. If not, go check out his story. It's amazing. Very credible. Nobody can debunk him. Chris Bledsoe calls them in. He said, it's like Christ said. I'm not comparing him to Christ. Christ said non-believers had to leave the room when he was healing. If you don't believe it, it's an energy field, so it affects others because we are one. If you don't believe and you're in the room, that message affects the outcome. So Christ removed them. Same thing Chris Bledsoe said, your disbelief in being here is stopping them from showing up because they're only going to connect to that high frequency. And as soon as that person apologized, they all showed up. That's what's happening to the general public that's going into awakening, is even working on it remotely on any level. It's coming in. So now the buckle up is you're going to get pelted with a lot of discrediting spiritual teachers that aren't here to tell you how things are, but to open up your mind and tell you you are all powerful, you are perfect, you are not less than or greater than anything. Everything you do affects everybody else, everything they do affects us, so we got to be very cognizant of that. So I want you to be on your game. Everything is amazing. We're going into the golden era. That's what's happening right now. Those in lower frequency, nobody gets left behind. They're just staying in the experience. They want to experience it. That's all. No biggie. So just allow it, but you're still here in this experience with them. But they're going to say, come over here, come over here. And if you start to get dark entities showing up, all that stuff, pay notice to that. That means your frequency's lowering. There's some thought, or you've watched something, or you're believing something, or you're doubting yourself. My Digital Explorer students, I told them, I said, watch it. You're going to self-sabotage, because that's what we do here, because you're programmed to think, I can't do that. I'm not important enough. I'm not powerful enough. So let's recap. Disclosure is already happening, and all the light workers are now sharing stories that it happened to them. They have contact. They had light beings show up when they were kids. They're seeing orbs. People that weren't talking about it now are talking, and it's too massive to stop it. Ooh, something's being moved out there. Second thing, more proof. It's irrefutable. It's already happening. How many times can you see orbs or things in your rooms or messages or synchronicity? How many times can you see that before you finally realize it's real? It's just a world we don't see. And as humans, we are in density, so we're not in contact with it on the same level that they are. So they're going to start communicating more with us, and too many people are going to see all this stuff and they can't debunk it anymore. We can't debunk it. Of course, there's a lot of people out there telling some whack job stories, but that's okay. We know the difference. Number 3, people are accessing it and they're not afraid of it anymore. They're realizing God doesn't get angry. How can God get angry? And how can that person that I can't stand, a celebrity or government worker, is evil when the source made everything? It's just an experience. Your greatest teacher, can you love them anyways? That's your test. So we have to also take action. This is what's happening. We're taking action. We are calling them in and communicating. We are getting information. We are going to create new inventions. We are going to do things, and we are going to do it in numbers to the point where it can't be stopped. Right? It's going to be way too noticeable. People are coming out into the public and saying, you know what? If anything happens to me, you know. And it's going to make the the density look really, really bad. So now they're not doing that so much anymore. So again, be aware. Be very aware. Go check out Dorothy Izat, Capturing the Light. They took pictures of the video she had. They would take still pictures of these lights that were just incredible. You got to see this. It's super cool. And so when they filmed the picture, these lights would come off of it. There's a power in the pictures. Energy is never destroyed. It transforms. If you look at something, even if it's a picture, that energy is still there. They say if you look at pictures of real crop circles, the real ones, and there's a lot of real ones out there, that there's messages in it. And you don't have to be there physically. You don't have to be physical in anything. Somebody who has abilities is connected to you, whether they're on the other side of the planet or not. True abilities. There's a lot of, people out there that claim that aren't. But that's okay. They can live in that world. We're not going to condemn that. Are you ready for this? It can't be stopped. So now, we're going to see it happening. Things will be disclosed, revealed. I think there are things in our government they're showing up that just aren't right, and they're being talked about. Where did all this money go? I'm not going to get into politics. I just think everything's exactly the way it should be, no matter what you think, good or bad about them. It doesn't matter. It's what you're doing. Let's go into that power, start experimenting with this. Those of you who are in my free inspiration, I'm teaching you how to do this. So we used to meditate here, and now my meditations, I have you meditate out here, because this is you. It's not separate. It's not my higher self is some separate thing. You are the higher self. You are connected to everything. We're going to go deeper into this. I'm very excited. I hope that you are. And thanks so much for being here. So just a quick note, if you want to detox, I just purchased a filter of water that takes 80 poisons and toxins out of my water. People noticed when they came over how great it tasted. They didn't know I purchased this. You're not even supposed to boil anything or boil water. I found out what happens when you do that, and it's not good. I won't even boil my food in the tap water. Detox yourself, your home. No more consuming the negativity. If we're cleaning up all this plastic, where's it coming from? Somebody's making it. Why is it allowed? So you're going and buying plastic bottles and drinking poison water, and then you're going out and collecting the water bottles on the beach? That's insanity. It should never be allowed. It shouldn't be made in the first place. This is a very important message. You have to live it now. It is done. It is done. It's not a place we're going to. It's done, which means you either live it or you don't. Watch what you're consuming. It is part of your energy field. As soon as you watch it and you see it, it's part of your energy field. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful. Loving, harmonious, and happy blessings to you, my friend. I know this was a long video, but it's worth it. You are unconditionally loved. Namaste.